Hi YouTube family, Imadi here. I know I haven't posted in a while. That's because I've been busy on this new project that requires my time and long commute for about a month, so I am not in my usual routine. But after a month, I think I should get into a much more flexible routine and I'll be posting much more often. Nevertheless, let's talk about the summary for today. As you might have been able to learn from the title, we'll be talking about the memoir Will by Will Smith and Mark Manson. This memoir is a must read. I know we haven't seen the best side of Will in the news lately, but I believe that reading this memoir would shed a lot of light to why that slap happened. It's totally inexcusable, and there are ways to handle situations if we feel we have to defend a family member or protect someone that we truly care about. There are many other ways to go about it than showing violence, either in personal or in public situations. So, very inexcusable. Regardless, I'm still a big fan of Will, and I've always been a fan. I mean, I know we're all humans and we are fallible beings and we make mistakes. Hopefully, Will has learned and grown from this mistake. As usual, for my summary, I made animations using key contents from the book. But before we jump right into the summary, if you are new to this channel, I do book reviews and summary. And if you enjoy this kind of content or similar content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Well, without wasting much time, let's jump right into the summary and I'll see you guys afterwards. Book Will shares the story of not the bigger than life superstar Will Smith we have known from the big screen, but more of his human side, of his good and shadow side. He himself notes, and I quote, "The Will Smith we have come to know and love is a carefully crafted and honed character designed to protect myself, to hide myself from the world, to hide the coward." The story of Will by Will Smith and Mark Manson is based on the story that has many intricacies. He shares important moments in his life's journey, including somewhat tumultuous childhood experiences, positive relationships that influenced his life, his rap career, serendipitous moments that made his acting career, wins and losses in his relationships and career trajectories, and many of his life's philosophies. For my summary, I break this memoir down to a story of growing pains and finding courage through comedy and fantasy, the influence of family, the value of hard work, a taste of fame, finding redemption, building a family, and letting go to find yourself. Growing pains and finding courage through comedy and fantasy. A recurring theme in this book was that Will often referred to himself as a coward. One account of his feelings of cowardice was as a young boy he continuously failed to protect his mom from domestic violence caused by his father. Even if the violence wasn't his fault, he felt as the first son of 4 siblings he could have done better protecting his mother. In all of this discord, 2 techniques he found to be useful were humor and imagination. Humor. Humor for him was a way to make everyone happy and everything better. In his words, "If I kept Daddy entertained and made him laugh, then he wouldn't hurt my mother." Humor was what he saw when he watched his favorite sitcoms such as Good Times, The Brady Bunch, and Happy Days. They all had a perfectly crafted family narrative. Laughter seemed to fix everything, and everyone seemed to live happily ever after. Humor was also a tool that protected him from all potential bullies. Being the only black kid in an all-white classroom, humor made him fit in. In his words, "Funny is colorblind. Comedy diffuses all negativity." Humor was also how he got the name Fresh Prince. One of his favorite teachers, Miss Brown, would sarcastically call him Prince Charming. And one time, he came to class about 45 seconds after the bell, and she would say, "His Highness the Prince is 2 minutes late." And with humor, he specifically asked to be known as the Fresh Prince. This made everyone, including Miss Brown, laugh. He had learned through the course of his life to bring humor into any seemingly tough situation. But this was no easy task for him. In his words, comedy is an extension of intelligence. It's hard to be funny if you are not really smart. The second technique, imagination. With his vivid imagination, he could escape and create a fantasy life that could make everything happen. He even had an imaginary friend called Magica. For him, his imagination was a gift, and outside always getting good grades, this was the part of him his mom loved the most. Influence of family. Despite the complexity of his childhood, Will Smith gives credit to three main people that had a huge influence over his mindset and organizes them into what he calls a philosophical triangle. His father, who he refers to as Daddy-O, taught him the value of hard work and discipline. His mother, who he refers to as Mom, taught him the value of education and constant learning. And his grandmother, who he refers to as Gigi, taught him the value of love in God. The value of hard work. To illustrate the importance of hard work, Will shares a pivotal story about the wall. At the age of 11, his dad would give his brother and him the arduous task of building a new wall on the front of his shop, as the old one was dilapidated. It was a task that would take both brothers about a year to complete. They worked on the wall without a day off. They would work on weekends, during the holidays, and vacations. At times, they felt discouraged and felt it was impossible to do. But an important advice from their dad was to stop thinking about the wall and to think about the bricks. It was all about moving from brick to brick and making sure each one was laid perfectly. This lesson would later have a huge impact in his work ethic. According to the author, the secret to my success is as boring as it is unsurprising. You show up and you lay the brick. Irrespective of life's challenges, you keep laying the brick. Meaning everything was possible with hard work. This same work ethic, along with humor and his imagination and other lessons he had learned from other people in his philosophical triangle, would later give him the internal power and confidence to excel in music, daytime TV, and movies. A Taste of Fame. This memoir gives a great history of the hip-hop culture. It also shares how he developed a flair for rap music, which was unexpected for a kid that grew up in his neighborhood, a two-parent home, and went to a majority white Catholic school. His rhymes had no curse words, and he was often criticized for not being a gangster. He would soon collaborate with DJ Jazzy Jeff to create a rap album and would become the first rap artist in history to win a Grammy Award. In Will's words, "We were red, hot, and unstoppable." At 20 years old, I was a world-famous rapper, a Grammy Award winner, and a freshly minted millionaire, pun intended. A popular quote by Winston Churchill says, "The price of greatness is responsibility." With the money and fame came the spending, living recklessly, and evading tax payment. This was a persona he assumed after finding out his high school sweetheart cheated on him. but all of his reckless living would soon come back to haunt him. His second album would end up not being successful. He became broke and would spend the night in jail. Finding redemption. In his time of failure, he was so lucky to have the support of friends. He was given a loan from a friend. This loan would eventually help him get to Los Angeles. There, he would find the support of his then girlfriend, who provided him a place to stay, but she would also be the one to nudge him to get out of his comfort zone. Call it serendipity or call it luck, he would eventually get an opportunity to meet Quincy Jones, who offered him a role in a daytime TV show despite having no previous history of acting. He would say yes to this opportunity as he felt his childhood experiences of having a vivid imagination and being funny had prepared him for the task. He excelled in the audition and also on the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This was a stepping stone for him to get into serious acting roles that eventually led him to break several box office records, not just in the US but globally. He credited his global success to the advice he got when he had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of a restaurant owned by three of the world's biggest stars in Hollywood, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, and Sylvester Stallone. He sought their advice for success, and Arnold would tell him, "You are not a movie star if your movies are only successful in America. You are not a movie star until every person in every country on earth knows who you are. You have to travel the globe, shake every hand, kiss every baby. Think of yourself as a politician running for the biggest movie star in the world." He took Arnold's advice to heart and would make his presence known globally by continuously traveling and making grand movie premieres internationally. All of his hard work would pay off as his movies became a global success. Movies like Ali, Independence Day, I Am Legend, Men in Black, Bad Boys for Life, among many others, ranked top in the global box office. Building his family. One of his life's desires was to have a beautiful family which would be totally different from the family that he grew up in. He would eventually get married to his first wife and have a son, Trey. Unfortunately, they would get a divorce, which was far from the vision he had for a family. In this time, he had fallen in love with Jada Pinkett, and together they would eventually get married and have two children, Jaden and Willow. The book talked about how he continuously worked hard to ensure the lives of his first wife and their son and his current family were merged to ensure he could parent his children. One example of this was when he had to go to Beijing, China with Jaden to shoot Karate Kid. Trey couldn't make it because of his football game. Will decided that despite the challenge of distance, he would continually fly back to LA on Friday mornings to make it to Trey's football games. Despite his hopes and dreams for a family life, he realized his priorities were different from that of his family. The book shares some examples of this with his kids and with his wife Jada. He would soon realize this when he would have a serious fight with Jada following her unappreciation of the 40th birthday bash he had organized for her. This fight made them realize they both needed different things to be happy and decided to take time apart to find their true joy and happiness. They would end up spending a few years apart. Letting go to find yourself. With the time he had taken for himself, he would travel to the Caribbean to visit friends. There, he discovered how laid back life can be without placing much emphasis on constantly doing things. He would also later work with a counselor and explore ayahuasca. All these experiences would bring him to the realization that the main life's battle he had to conquer was in his mind. For according to him, I'd always seen the world as my battlefield. I now understand that the true combat zone was my mind. Welcome back. I would say the book Will by Will Smith and Mark Manson shared so much candor without sugarcoating. And I must warn you, if you're very sensitive to language, this book has a lot of it. The book has a total of 420 pages and shares lots of intimate stories of Will Smith. It shares stories on triumph, tenacity, inspiration, heartbreaks, and lots of humor. I didn't expect anything less from Will. If you're a fan of Will, read the book. If you've given up on Will, also read the book. There's a lot you learn. It shows the human side of him, and there's a lot that you can resonate with. There's adventure, relationships, dreams, hopes, things that you hoped for and never came to pass, or you wished it had happened, or it didn't happen the way you hope it did. There's a lot of lessons to learn from the book Will. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the book Will. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and also share with family and friends. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please do subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a lot of book summaries lined up, and hopefully I would get back to a routine pretty soon so I would have time to make edits for these book summaries. Until next time, be well, my friends, and remember, keep your mental up. Bye for now.